When nuclear plant explodes. Radioactive material spread from the nuclear power plant to people who are outdoors, buildings, food, water, and livestock. For example, after Chernobyl nuclear plant accident, radiation spread to soil, and cows ate contaminated grass. Then, children drank radioactively contaminated milk. And it was main cause of increased rate of thyroid cancer among children. Potential harm caused by nuclear plant explosion is dependent degree of exposed radiation. For example, exposure to 100 millisievert a year is the lowest level at which any increase in cancer risk is clearly evident. A cumulative 1,000 millisieverts, 1 sievert, would probably cause a fatal cancer many years later in 5 out of every 100 persons exposed to it. We get radiation not only from nuclear plant explosion but in everyday life. In a CT scan, the organ being receives a radiation dose of 15 millisieverts in an adult, to 30 millisieverts in a newborn infant. A typical chest X-ray involves exposure of about 0.02 millisieverts, while a dental one can be 0.01 millisieverts. The 1986 accident at the Chernobyl nuclear plant in Ukraine was the largest uncontrolled radioactive release in history. The most affected countries are Belarus, the Russian Federation, and Ukraine. In these countries, an average effective dose of radiation was 9 millisieverts, about the dose of a medical CT scan, 10 millisieverts. The total worldwide average effective dose from natural background radiation is around 2.4 millisieverts per year. In Canada, it is 1.8 millisieverts per year. The radiation dose due to Chernobyl in other European countries was less than 1 millisievert. In more distant countries, radiation from the accident had no impact on the annual background doses and was considered to be non-significant to public health. The exclusion fallout zone in Chernobyl was about 30 kilometers. The initial steam explosion caused deaths of 2 workers. And 134 emergency workers suffered acute radiation syndrome, ARS, due to high doses of radiation. 28 of them later died from ARS. There were also about 5,000 thyroid cancer cases, of which 15 have proven fatal. Many of which could have been avoided by preventing the consumption of contaminated foodstuffs, such as milk. Workers and the public were exposed to 3 main types of radionuclides, iodine-131 and cesium. When iodine-131 is released into the environment, it is quickly transferred to humans and taken up by the thyroid gland. However, I-131 has a short half-life, 8 days. Cesium isotopes have longer half-lives, approximately 2 years for cesium-134 and 30 years for cesium-137. Follow-up studies have firmly concluded that the accident has not caused an increase in birth defects or hereditary effects. And no measurable increase in solid cancers beyond thyroid cancer has been detected. All 66,000 Belarusian emergency workers, by the mid-1990s their government reported that only 150, roughly 0.2%, died. In contrast, in the much larger workforce from Ukraine, numbered in the hundreds of thousands, some 5,722 casualties from a host of non-accident causes were reported among Ukrainian cleanup workers up to the year 1995.